Good evening. My name is Allie Smith, and I'm one of the Assistant Directors of Admission here at Villanova University. As a Villanova alum myself and very proud graduate of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, it is a high honor for me to welcome you to our College of Liberal Arts and Sciences virtual fall preview day. Tonight is all about the college. For a more admission-related event, please tune into one of our virtual Villanova visits. There, you will receive a full rundown of the university as a whole and our admission review process. We have an outstanding lineup of speakers here tonight, and while we would love nothing more than to welcome you to our campus in person, the online landscape has the unique ability to offer just a little something extra. You'll see at the bottom of the screen, you can use that Q&A box to ask questions in the background. We have members of our Arts and Sciences team working hard to answer as many as they are able. Want to hear more about arts and sciences from a student perspective or have a few remaining questions after this presentation? Go ahead and register for one of our student-led Q&A panels. We have one for liberal arts on October 5th and one for sciences on October 6th. I'll go ahead and put links to both in the chat. But that's enough for me for right now. I'll be in the background too, helping with questions. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Adele Lindenmeyer, Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences and Professor of History. Dean Lindenmeyer, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Allie, and a very warm Villanova welcome to this presentation about the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, or CLAS, as we call it. CLAS is the largest and also the oldest college at Villanova University. We were the first, founded by 9 brave Augustinian fathers in 1842 for the sons of Philadelphia's Irish American working class. Today, we are still the largest, with more than half of the undergraduate student body enrolled in the college and about 2/3 of the faculty, 400 plus full-time faculty. I oversee 23 different departments, from astrophysics and biology to theater and theology. And they offer a very wide and exciting variety of more than 40 different majors, more than 60 different minors, from statistics and creative writing to peace and justice and biochemistry. In the short time my colleagues and I have to share with you a little bit about the college this evening, we can only give you a glimpse of the core principles and values that make CLAS so special and inspire what we do here. Here's how the evening is going to work. After I say a few words about, in general, about what makes a CLAS education valuable for now and for the future, I will introduce to you 2 outstanding members of the CLAS faculty. They, with the help of some of their students, will describe their work and explain how undergraduates collaborate with them in their research, as do so many undergraduates with other members of the faculty. Then my colleague, Associate Dean Dr. Crystal Lucky, will introduce you to the Augustinian values that inspire all that we do. So why should you consider applying to Villanova's College of Liberal Arts and Sciences? I think the reasons are too many to really elaborate on here. I could start with our beautiful campus. I hope you will have a chance to take a visit, or at least a virtual visit. Also, our proximity, right 12 miles from the exciting, historic, vibrant, multicultural city of Philadelphia. We have, of course, reached the ranking as one of the top national universities in the United States. We have well-known and amazing athletic teams, but the most important reason is the excellent, rigorous, and useful education that we provide our undergraduates. The foundation of the liberal arts education at Villanova is what we call the CLAS promise. CLAS cultivates in our students knowledge, understanding, and intellectual courage for a challenging and changing world. We do this through courses and programs that are based on intellectual rigor, a global perspective, high-value skills, and meaningful success. To deliver this CLAS promise, we rely on a strategy that unites the old, and the new. We are a liberal arts college, and our undergraduate education is based on the timeless values and aims of a classical liberal arts education. But we adapt it and we fit it to 21st century needs. The information explosion, the proliferation of knowledge, and the increasing diversity of our society, to name just a few 21st century challenges. We empower our students with the knowledge and competencies they will need to be successful and to make a positive difference in the rapidly changing workplace of the future. There are three elements to the strategy we use of fulfilling the CLA's promise. The first is our core curriculum, which is quite distinctive and rigorous, but also extremely broadly ranging. Our core curriculum includes courses that encompass a broad range of disciplines, humanities to sciences. Students learn how to study in depth and with intellectual sophistication. We concentrate on the symbiosis of knowledge and the development of intellectual skills that provide a basis for informed judgment and lifelong learning. And I will emphasize again, the 4 years you spend in college go by in the blink of an eye. They are yet the beginning of lifelong adventure of learning. The second component of our strategy is to provide students with opportunities. Opportunities that enable them to set their own course and find their passion and purpose. We like to think of our students as free-range thinkers. Thanks to the wide variety of majors and minors that I mentioned earlier, our students often put together their own distinctive program of study, combining, for example, a science major with a humanities major, or a major in a foreign language with economics or political science or peace and justice. We also offer literally hundreds of diverse internships and service learning opportunities, as well as faculty mentored research that you'll learn a little bit more about later, and also astounding opportunities to work on programs such as the social justice documentary program that you'll also hear about. The third essential part of a Villanova liberal arts education is collaboration. Collaboration, I believe, is a special quality of a Villanova education. It originates in our Augustinian values and mission, which emphasize community. At Villanova, we value cooperation over competition, and we believe that when one of us succeeds, we all succeed. So fortunately, you don't have to just take my word alone for this. I'm very pleased to introduce you to two members of the faculty, Professor Hezekiah Lewis and Professor Samantha Chapman. They will tell you about how they bring students into their work and the values of social justice and sustainability that inspire them. First, allow me to introduce Professor Hezekiah Lewis of the Department of Communication, one of the leaders of our acclaimed social justice documentary film program. Professor Lewis.
Thank you, Dean. I just want to say I'm really excited and really honored that the Dean gave me an opportunity to share, the program that we have here at Villanova when it comes to the social justice documentary program. First thing I want to say, Villanova saved my life. And for me, it's hard for me to really put into words how impactful this university has been for me. Coming from San Bernardino, California, I was a statistic. I was not supposed to be here. I was not supposed to be on this, having this opportunity to really share my experiences with you all now. And when I got to this campus and really kind of feeling that sense of family and community, it just really, it completely changed my world for the better. And I owe everything that I have now to this university. But I don't have a lot of time to really talk about myself, but I really want to talk to you a little bit about our program as a whole And for me, this is a program that is going to change your life if you get the opportunity to be a part of it. It changes my life every single year, every single time I get with a group of students and we come up with these ideas of really talking about these ideas of social justice and really evoking positive social change on a global scale. And that's what this program does for you. And I brought along 2 students to really share their personal experiences to really kind of give you a taste of what this program has really done for them, but also really challenging them on many different levels. This is probably going to be one of the hardest programs or courses that you will ever do while you're here at Villanova. And what this program does is really challenges you not only on the intellectual level, physically, emotionally, and it really takes that idea of theory and puts it to practice and gives you the opportunity to really try to evoke some sense of change. And these are not just a course. I always say this is a process. This is an experience. This is you really respecting the process to really understand the importance of evoking that sense of change. So social justice to me is something that's near and dear to my heart, but it's also something that I love to challenge not only our students, but our faculty and the community beyond the walls of Villanova. And that's what this program does. It gives the students the opportunity to come together as a group and they come up with a topic. We've been everywhere from Ghana, we've been to Ethiopia, we've been to Costa Rica, we've been to Italy, we've been to just recently Tanzania, and dealing with issues of clean water in Tanzania, dealing with post-traumatic slave syndrome and its effects on the educational system in Ghana. Going to Ghana a second time, we deal with the loss of Black identity due to slavery and colonialism. And that film won the Student Academy Award, the first we ever had in the history of Villanova. So we have a very strong program, but it's not just about the accolades. It's really about the impact that it has on our students and the community beyond. Because once the project is done, it's not over because you get a grade. These projects live with you for the rest of your life. These projects really affect communities for the rest of their lives. That being said, we actually we got a water well in Tanzania that's really helping get access to clean water to over 7,000 people in the village. So it's not just about the class. This is something, like I said, is going to really propel you to really understand the importance of giving back and understanding the importance of really finding your heart and your passion in the work that you're doing and see how it really does impact these communities on a larger scale. So we're not just reading about it. We're not just taking exams. Your exam is life. And you're going to learn more about life than you will about filmmaking being part of this program. I can care less if you know how to put up a tripod. I can care less if you know how to work Adobe Premiere. All I want is you to be able to come in with that sense of passion and that desire to understand and have these uncomfortable conversations about privilege, power, and difference. But, enough said for me. I'm going to kind of wrap it up, after my 2 students kind of give you just a brief overview of their experience. And I want to start off with Medea. And Medea is one of the producers for the amazing documentary that we did called Sankofa in Ghana that deal with the loss of Black identity due to slavery and colonialism and looking at it from the Black male's perspective. So Medea. Medea, can you hear us?
Oops, yes. Hi, sorry. My name is Medea Gant, and I graduated in May of 2019. As Hezi said, I was a member of the social justice documentary for Sankofa. I took social justice doc just kind of on a whim. I didn't know who Hezi was. I had never touched a camera before. I thought film or like creating documentaries was as simple as like pressing start, stop, and then somehow uploading it to like a computer or something. So I had no idea what I was doing. I just kind of knew, I had worked with someone who knew Hezi, and he had said that whatever you do, like you have to try and take a class with Hezekiah Lewis. And so that's what I did. I went into social justice doc with 20 other peers, most of which had no experience in film or any of the sort. We don't have like an actual film major at Villanova, but we have different things that are similar to it. And so we had chemistry majors in our class, economic majors in our class, mechanical engineers in our class. And so it really had a bunch of different types of students in the social justice documentary class, and they weren't just class students. So I thought that was really cool. And I mean, from the moment I walked into social justice documentary, it changed the trajectory of my entire life. I never knew I wanted to do something in film, and through that experience, that's now the career that I'm pursuing. Professor, as Hezi had said, you don't have to know anything about film to take this class, and out of the 20 of us in the class, 19 of us knew nothing. We learned it as we went. Hezi's really good at supporting you all the way. This is his life, and he doesn't, it's not like a job to him, it is his life, and so he's willing to give his all and everything to his students. And so, as he had said before, this doc ended up winning and was the first medalist for the Student Academy Awards, and we all started knowing nothing. Nobody knew how to work Premiere, nobody knew how to work a camera, and so I just think that speaks to what this class means and the dedication of its students. I love social justice doc. I can't say enough about it. I loved it so much I did it twice. It's changed my life. Some of my best friends came out of social justice documentary, and you learned a lot about running a business. And so we essentially started our own student-run production company. We had to raise the funds to make sure that we can support our film. We had to come up with the concept of the story. We had to budget. We had to just anything that you could think that it goes into making a company, we had to do as students. It was like the most responsible I've ever had to be in my life. It taught me so much, and I really think it prepared me for where I am now in life. And so, yeah, I can't say enough good things about social justice documentary. Even if you don't think that you're interested in film, I think one of the greatest things I learned about Villanova is just going out on a limb and doing something you never thought you would do, and you never know what it's going to do to change your life, because I know it changed mine. So yeah, thanks, Az.
Thank you, Medea. And next, I just want to introduce Michelle, who is the producer from last year's film, From the Ground Up, that we shot in Tanzania. So Michelle.
Hi, everyone. Like Hezi said, I'm Michelle. I just graduated this past May from Villanova. My degree is in peace and justice. I also minored in biology and public administration, and I was on the pre-med track while I was at Villanova. But just to kind of echo what Medea said, I had no experience going in to doc. If you gave me a camera, I could probably figure out how to turn it on, but that's about the extent of it. No experience, no real interest in going into the industry either. As I said, I was pre-med, still pre-med, still planning on going to medical school. But I think that it just kind of goes to show that you don't have to be a filmmaker. You don't have to sort of want to work in that media industry or really have any particular interest in documentary making to take the class. I think it welcomes people of all identities, all backgrounds, all interests. The way that it kind of sets itself up, or Hezi sets it up, is you're really put into a very real world experience, if you will. Basically everything is sort of student run, has kind of shepherding us along the way. But we're the ones, scheduling meetings we partner with a nonprofit this past year. We worked with the Water Boys organization. It was started by Chris Long. We're the ones scheduling those meetings with our contact there. We're the ones kind of scheduling meetings, talking about finances and working out the budget, and kind of all that stuff. It's has a lot of trust in his students and in the program that he's set up, so that we do get that kind of hands-on experience, which is really, really cool. And another thing I think that I never expected through my experience in the program, but I'm so grateful for, as cliche as it sounds, it changed my life, because I think that in undergrad, you're involved with different clubs and different organizations, and you've got academics and whatnot. But something that I didn't realize necessarily, it sounds obvious, but after 4 years, all of that kind of ends in a way, or at least it's not the same as it was while you're in undergrad. But this process, this project that we've produced and worked on, this cause that we've sort of championed and became a passion project, it continues with you. We, like Hez mentioned, were able to raise the funds through our film to implement one clean water well in one of the 2 villages that we spent time with on the ground in Tanzania. And we're still working to get that second well. So the project, you know, just because most of us have graduated, it doesn't end there. It keeps going. And that is something that I'm so grateful for, that it's such a real world impact that we got to do in undergrad and are getting to continue on with. It's really priceless.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. And, you know, we'll be around for more questions, you know, later on. And I just want to say, you know, never forget where you came from, but please be open to where you're going and know that this is something that's going to be the best 4 years of your life, but really challenge yourselves, you know, follow your passion, follow your heart, and Villanova will give you the opportunity to be free thinkers and really challenge the status quo. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Professor Lewis, and thank you, Michelle and Medea. It's great to see you after graduation. Next, I'd like you to meet Dr. Samantha Chapman, Professor of Biology and the co-founder of our newest center in the college, the Center for Biodiversity and Ecosystem Stewardship. Dr. Chapman.
Thanks so much, Dean Lindemeyer. With you while I share my screen. So thanks so much for letting me have the opportunity to talk with all of you tonight. I'm a professor in biology and I teach classes like introductory biology, which maybe some of you are interested in pursuing, all the way up to advanced classes like ecosystem ecology and valuing biodiversity. So I think Dr. Lewis and his students did such a fantastic job of giving you a sense of what life is like at Villanova in terms of partnerships between professors and students. And one of the things that makes Villanova unique is that we are a smaller community that is really going out into the world, into the larger community to solve problems. And so the problems that me and my students try to solve are those with respect to climate change and natural ecosystems. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about the wet feet project that I'm working on and how I involve undergraduates in the living laboratories in which we work. And so what do I mean by a living laboratory? So we have many amazing scientists here at Villanova, but lots of them work in laboratories. As a field biologist and a field scientist, the place that is really my laboratory are the coastal ecosystems in which I work. And in particular, these are marshes and mangroves. They're like little thin strips of land that line our coast here in the United States and really across the world. And they play a really important role for us as human beings as well as for other organisms. So they protect us against big storms like hurricanes. They also are really effective at trapping carbon dioxide out of the air and locking it away as sort of a natural solution to climate change. And so what my students and I do is we work in these ecosystems to try to do experiments to understand what the future holds for them and how we can potentially help them as they're facing climate change. And so in order to train future scientists and to work with the undergrads that I work with in my research program, we really have to get our feet wet, right? And so in this wet feet project that I'm running, I bring students with me into these coastal ecosystems and teach them about all the things they need to do in order to help us with the current experience and data collection that we have going on, but also more importantly, and what's really most exciting for me as a mentor, is for them to come up with their own ideas. My research program is not just mine, right? It's a large team of people who are coming up with really good ideas to try to solve some of the major problems in nature and in our world today. And undergraduates are an enormous part of that. And you're going to get to hear from one of my current students, Emma, in a little bit about her experiences as a research undergraduate in my lab. But I thought maybe it would be most useful for me to tell you about what some of my recent students have been working on to help you understand how they really are driving the research intellectually as well as doing it, boots on the ground. And so the first student I'll tell you about is Philip Yang. I'll tell you a little bit about each of them, not just as a scientist, but also as broader people in the Villanova world, as many of our students are. So Philip is a biology major. He's also men's basketball. He's on the men's basketball club, and he's the women's basketball team's manager. So Philip's project is really interesting because he's working, as you can see here, working in the field with me just not long ago, getting very muddy. He's really interested in understanding how boat wakes are influencing coastal erosion in Florida. So many of our sites are in Florida, and what Philip's doing is using fairly sophisticated mapping software as well as field-based data to understand which sections of this reserve that we work in Northeast Florida are most susceptible to sea level rise. And so by doing that, he's able to inform the managers of those lands kind of which ones we have to target for restoration or protection in order to help those ecosystems keep providing those services that they provide for us as humans. Another student that I just graduated in May is Claire Fell. She's a senior thesis student who just finished in my lab. She's a women's soccer player. I don't know how she has time to do so much research and play soccer, but she's managed it. And Claire's project's really interesting because she's looking at this property of mangroves and marshes to actually influence how much carbon is trapped away in them, therefore providing a natural solution to climate change. And her research is actually being really impactful in this part of this Coastal Carbon Research Coordination Network, which is a worldwide effort by scientists like myself, in which we're collaborating on gathering data across the world to understand how various ecosystems are trapping carbon away. And Claire's research is a big part of that. Finally, Libby O'Brien is a student who graduated last year. She's a geography and the environment major. She's a Fulbright scholar now in the Philippines, and she double majored in humanities. And Libby, you can see a picture here of she and I at her poster. Villanova has undergraduate research poster sessions. And so she's featuring her data here based on a question that she just came up with, which is really, do mangroves take up water through their leaves? So mangroves are these coastal trees and they have their feet, their roots in water, but they need fresh water, right? They're living in salt water. And so Libby's data showed evidence that these mangroves are able to take up water through the leaves, which was really novel and impactful. And because of her work, she was featured in this publication that we just published in the Journal of Ecology. And so all of these students, including Emma, who I'll introduce in a second, are really part of a large research team. My Wet Feet project features 40 scientists, students, all the way up to senior scientists like myself, working on this project from really across the country and across the world. And so the students that work with me get to work with all these different experts, be in the field with them, be in planning meetings with them, and learning really their future jobs as scientists. And so with that, I'd like to introduce Emma. Emma is a junior this year and biology major. She's also a member of the honors program. And Emma is doing a National Science Foundation research experience for undergraduates with me this year, which is a really unique opportunity and a unique fellowship. And then she's going to be doing a senior thesis in my lab next year. And so with that, go ahead, Emma. Everything okay? There you are.
Yeah, the video's not letting me open.
Okay. Well, you can talk. That's okay, right?
Yeah, I guess so. All right. Well, thank you, Sam. Oh, wait, starting my video. Cool. Got the notification. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you, Sam. Hi, everyone. As Sam said, my name is Emma Gilbo. I'm a junior biology major and a French minor. I'm also a member of the Honors College. I wanted to do research in biology as an undergrad. So I'm currently working on an REU, or an research experience for undergraduates, with Dr. Chapman. She was actually my former professor for Gen Bio. So right now I'm studying global change ecology with wet feet, which is like the project that she's working on. My REU is a paid research opportunity. It's actually funded by the National Science Foundation, which is pretty cool. So what I'm doing right now is I'm helping other undergrads and grad students in Dr. Chapman's lab with their research and their theses. So I'm working hands-on with a lot of samples in the lab, and I've been processing data. I've also been working in the greenhouse on campus. I actually spent a few hours last Saturday with my hands covered in mud. It was a lot of fun. And I'm also working on coming up with my own topic to research as part of the Wet Feet project. So I'm still coming up with ideas for that, which is really exciting because it might turn into my senior thesis for biology and for honors when I graduate. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity, and I'm really excited to get started on what's going to be hopefully a really amazing senior thesis project. So if anyone has any questions about REUs or the work I'm doing as a bio student, I'm more than happy to answer them. But yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chapman and Emma. And if you need another person out there to get their feet wet, it sounds like a lot of fun and really challenging and interesting. It gives me great pleasure now to introduce my dear colleague, Dr. Crystal Lucky, Associate Dean for Baccalaureate Programs, who is going to tell you about the Augustinian values of truth, unity, and love that inspire everything that you've been hearing about so far this evening. Dr. Lucky.
Thank you, Dean Lindenmeyer. I want to wish everyone a good evening, and thank you all for joining us today. In addition to Dean Lindenmeyer, you have heard from two of our dynamic faculty along with their students about the kinds of work and activities that you might engage in at Villanova University. Their passion is representative, I think, of the culture we proudly cultivate in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences. This culture is grounded in and is an extension of our unique Augustinian Catholic tradition and rests on three guiding principles. And those principles are expressed through three important Latin words. The first is veritas. It is the Latin word for truth. And in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, we believe that education is not only the search for truth, but it's also the way to distinguish true knowledge based on facts and evidence from false propositions arising from hearsay, prejudice, or propaganda. Hopefully you noticed that in Dr. Chapman's work and in Professor Lewis's summary of the social documentary experience. The second principle is unitas, or unity. Unitas points to the ways we solve problems in CLAS by bringing different disciplines together and through collaboration, like environmental science with ethics, for example, or the intersection of history, literature, and politics, or the way Emma has talked about the kind of work that she's doing, or working on a social documentary the way that Michelle did, but also wanting to go to medical school. And in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, you can explore a wide range of questions that might not seemingly go together, but the space is there for you to explore. And the third principle is caritas, or love. In CLAS, we prize cooperation over competition. And we see this in the many ways that, like you've seen tonight, faculty invite students to collaborate with them in their research. Also, we see it in the learning communities of our first and second year students who live together and learn together. And in the myriad ways, students help each other by tutoring in the Learner's Studio, which is our tutoring center, the Writing Center, or the Math Learning Center. At Villanova, we believe that each of us succeeds when we all succeed together. And in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, we offer you so many innovative and exciting ways to explore your interests and prepare you to make an impact in the world in which we all live, and I think we want to continue to care for. Perhaps the best place to start that kind of a journey is in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences Office for Undergraduate Students, better known around Villanova as OUS. It's the central hub of the undergraduate experience in the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, and it is led by Assistant Dean Susan Jacobs. It's my pleasure to introduce you to Assistant Dean Jacobs now.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Lucky. I appreciate that. So I am here to offer just a few more remarks about the type of underlying support and services that we provide to students in the college from the Office for Undergraduate Students. So just give me a moment here to share my screen with you, if I can. And thank you for waiting. Right. Here we go. Thank you. All right, let me start this from the beginning. All right. So I want to tell you a little bit more about the mission of the Office for Undergraduate Students. Our mission is to engage with students to provide personalized advising and support, and we serve as a hub that connects you to programs and resources throughout the Villanova community from orientation through graduation. So what does OUS offer? Here is a little bit more information about our services. So we empower students through our academic advising program for exploratory arts and sciences students. We help students evolve by providing professional development courses, workshops, internship support. OUS also provides specialized advising for students that are interested in medical school or in one of the health professions. I've seen a lot of questions in the chat about that. So I'm happy to tell you we have a team here in the Office for Undergraduate Students specifically focusing on answering your questions. If you have any that are unanswered tonight, you're welcome to email them directly. It's hpa@villanova.edu. OUS also offers retention and support and success advising to students. These advisors are here when you might experience a personal challenge that was unexpected, and sometimes a health challenge or something else going on in your life can interfere with your ability to be successful, but our retention team is here to help you through that. And finally, OUS also helps support students by helping you through registration and the degree completion processes. So a little bit more about how we work with you to find your passion. You heard our faculty and students talking about the interesting work that they're getting to do in their courses. So how do you get there? Each student works with a faculty advisor who is specially trained to help exploratory students. So this advisor is going to guide you through exploring the multiple disciplines, the core curriculum here at Villanova, and various opportunities to help you determine your educational and professional direction. So this advising course helps you make the transition to college and teaches you how to get the most out of your education. Now, some of our students may already know, for example, that they're interested in majoring in biology or chemistry, and so they may apply directly to one of those sciences. But the vast majority of our students are actually coming in as an exploratory arts or exploratory science student for their first year and likely into their second year as well. So if you're interested in maybe economics, Spanish, political science, you would enter as an exploratory arts student, and then your faculty advisor is going to help guide you through your foundational courses and other curriculum options to help you declare your major, typically during your second year. So, of course, if you haven't already made use of the Program Explorer tool that's on the admissions webpage, I really encourage you to look at that. Villanova has so many different major and minor options within our college that I'm sure a lot of you are getting your questions answered in the Q&A here, but we couldn't possibly address all your curriculum-specific questions tonight in one session. But our faculty and staff that work in the department offices are more than happy to receive your questions by email or phone. So please use that Program Explorer tool, navigate to the program you're interested in, send an email or make a phone call directly to that department if you have a really specific question. So where does all this exploration lead? I know one of the questions we get very often is from parents especially, but also from our students, of course. What type of outcomes can Villanova offer with the degree that the student is going to earn in your college? And so I'm happy to share this slide with you about the placement rate for one of our more recent graduating classes. So this placement rate is for military service, graduate school, and also students who successfully found employment. And I just want to share a couple of highlights with you from that class of 2019, some of their outcomes you can see here. And for really high level detail on the outcomes, I would also encourage you to view the Career Center's post-graduation outcome page. So make a note of that. If you haven't been there yet, navigate to the Career Center's webpage and you will find really detailed information about a communication major and which industries they ended up working in, and even what the starting salaries were for as many members of the class as we have that information for. So really exciting information to check out there. So I also want to stress that many times the Director of Professional Development in our college and our colleagues in the Career Center will say that it is in fact our liberal arts and sciences students that are highly sought after by employers and graduate schools because our students are so agile, they're creative thinkers, they're skilled communicators, and they are passionate problem solvers. And I know you've seen some demonstration of that tonight with our student volunteers. So how do you get from where you're sitting right now to one of these exciting outcomes? And that's where our professional development courses, workshops, and advising also comes into play. First, we offer 1 credit courses that students can enroll in from their first year through their senior year here in the college. You can see some of the titles here, so many different paths and opportunities to explore. Not only do we have 1 credit courses available, but we also host a variety of workshops and events. We have a Bridge Society, which is a group of students who are networking with alumni and opening up those meeting opportunities to students from a variety of majors. In addition, we also offer connections through the Nova Network, which is like LinkedIn for Villanovans. And that is a really fantastic way to find a mentor, to set up some shadowing or internship experiences with some fellow Villanovans. So again, I just wanted to show you a couple of different ways that Villanova helps prepare you to find your passion, explore many different opportunities, and get to that place where you're bringing the classroom experience into a career. Before I conclude my remarks here, I just want to run down a couple of really quick FAQs that we receive in the Office for Undergraduate Students. Can I study abroad? Of course, there are so many different ways that you can do that. Summer opportunities, semester or year opportunities, as well as embedded courses that happen within a course that's taught during a semester. Please visit the OEA webpage for more details on that. It's Office for Education Abroad, or OEA, if you're searching on the Villanova webpage. And then again, we get tons of questions about double majoring, majoring and minoring between colleges. And again, I'm gonna just say, is it possible? We are here to help you determine what's possible based on your passion and your interests. Typically, it is a student that will find that passion in one particular major and then have a minor in another area. So just a couple of weeks ago, I was working with a student who's in the College of Engineering, but who also has a music minor in the College of Arts and Sciences. We also have communication majors who are minoring in business. So certainly there are ways for you to experience different parts of the curriculum here, and you can work with your academic advisor to find that path. So I hope I've been able to answer a couple of FAQs here, but I know, again, you're typing them into the Q&A, and our staff are trying to answer those questions for you. But that concludes my remarks, and I'm going to invite Allie Smith, our host from University Admissions, back into our discussion.
Thank you so much, Susan. That was wonderful. I always learn so much when I come to these presentations myself, even though I've been at Villanova for ages now. We have just a few more minutes. So if you have any specific questions for our speakers, feel free to put those into the chat as we finish up. But we did have one specific question for Emma. So I am gonna just invite her back onto the screen for a moment to talk about her kind of decision to join our biology program.
There we go. Zoom was acting crazy for a moment. All right, so I actually, I think I answered this in the Q&A a little bit, but I actually came in and applied to Villanova as a biology major. It was something that I had found kind of in high school because I've always been like one of those nature kids and loved doing science fair projects in school, which is like a big indicator that maybe I should be going into STEM. But yeah, once I got here, especially, it just like, the minute I sat in on like my first Gen Bio class, I was like, yes, this is what I want to do. it had been something I think I had been trending towards for a little while, but as soon as I got here and sat in on my first few science classes in college, I was just dumbfounded by how amazing everything, like how amazing the professors here were and how much I was learning so quickly and how fascinated I was by it all. Something new I actually did learn in the program was I learned that I liked plants a lot. I came in just kind of general biology interest, but I found an interest in plants, and now I'm doing the REU with Dr. Chapman, so it all worked out great.
I see that there are some questions in the Q&A that ask about particular programs. In normal times, when we have preview day, it would be in person, and you would all disperse, and you would be able to go to the biology department or the communication department or the psychology department to learn about the cognitive behavioral neuroscience major. So I want to urge you, although unfortunately we don't have that opportunity to have open houses in the different departments, I want to urge all of our visitors this evening to contact the chairs of the departments in CLAS directly to ask the questions that you have about particular programs, whether it's economics as a CLAS student or what the opportunities are in computing sciences. Our department chairs love nothing more than talking about their discipline and their opportunities with prospective students. And it's just unfortunate that we don't have this opportunity this year, but they are more than eager to hear from you and answer your questions.
So I will just finish out with a couple of admission related questions pertaining to what we've been talking about in the chat with the last few minutes. So the first one was about early decision versus early action. So early decision is that binding commitment. So the acceptance rate is just a little bit higher than our early action round because you're saying that because you're applying early decision, Villanova is your #1 choice. And if you are accepted, you are ready to submit your deposit tomorrow. And early action just means your ducks are in a row. You want to get your application in a little bit earlier. And 3 things can happen. You can either be accepted outright, denied outright, or rolled into regular decision. So that's kind of the difference between those. And then I got a question about holistic review and test optional as well. So we are test optional for this year. So there is no upside or downside to submitting a test score or not submitting a test score. We understand that not everybody has had access to complete a test or to test in the way that they would like to. So whether or not you submit a test we have no preference. So whatever you feel best displays, who you are as a student, go ahead and do it that way. As far as, coming back for an admissions related event, you can go right to our website and sign up for one of our Villanova virtual visits. Those will, give you kind of the full rundown of all of our kind of admissions related topics, give you an overview of the university, and dive, lightly into our, other academic colleges. But I think I will just go ahead and close it out there. And we just want to thank you again for joining us this evening. If you have further questions, like I said, please register for one of our student-led panels on October 5th or 6th.
Allie, before we depart, we have a couple more minutes. Okay. A question in the Q&A asking if we would ask the student participants why they chose Villanova. So Medea, Michelle, and Emma, would you mind explaining to our audience why you chose to attend Villanova?
Hi. I chose to attend Villanova, I think, because of the family aspect that was pretty obvious upon arriving to campus. And I think I stayed ultimately throughout my 4 years pretty happily because of the family aspect. I think Villanova is a really community-based school. Hezi and
all the different professors like have had such a huge impact on my life, and I've gotten to know them, and they've really invested themselves in me. And so I just think that like that's kind of an unparalleled thing when I talk to friends from high school who've gone to different colleges, like knowing your professors beyond like a classroom context, or being able to like talk to your deans or know the president of your school, or have people who are actually like caring and wanting to invest in your projects. I just don't think that that's pretty common. And so I think like, yeah, the community and family that you really get at Villanova is one thing that got me there and kept me there, and ultimately is the reason why I continue to come back.
Thanks so much, Medea.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of a weird story, but I was actually from Hawaii. I was born and raised there, and I visited Villanova my sophomore year of high school on an East Coast college tour with my high school. We were gone for 5 days and we toured 25 schools. So it was very overwhelming. And we toured Villanova, and, you know, I liked it. I thought it was really cool. For some reason, it kind of stuck out to me, but I was 15 at the time, so it wasn't something that I was willing to bank on, you know, letting my 15-year-old self decide where I went to college. But in my senior year, when I was kind of applying to schools, I was kind of narrowing down my list based on schools that had things I needed in my college experience versus things I wanted. And in the 7th grade, I started coaching Special Olympics, and that was a huge part of my life. And it was something that I decided I needed to continue in college, because it's always been something that really grounds me, keeps me happy. It's my happy space. And so I kind of went around asking all the schools on my list if I could continue. And when I got to Villanova, guy kind of looked at me like I was crazy. So I was like, all right, sorry, see you never, like, it's okay. But he stopped me and said, Villanova has the largest student-run Special Olympics program in the world. And from there, I was sold. So I really took a leap of faith and took a chance on Villanova, and that's what got me there. What made me stay was realizing that at Villanova, the opportunities were kind of endless. Similar to what Medea said, the community there is unparalleled. There are so many opportunities for you to grow and create change and learn things that I never really even thought I was interested in or wanted to learn. Learning and having people right back beside you, interested in the same things, supporting you in the ways that you need. That's what kind of kept me, and I never looked back. So
Thank you, Michelle. Emma, how about you having the last word?
Oh, thank you. The last word. Oh, man. Well, I'd like to echo the previous sentiments for sure. And I'd also like to say that something that really stuck out to me about Villanova, of the 14 schools that I toured, I think it was 14, was that they seemed very focused on not limiting education to just academics, which I found was something very unique to this school that I hadn't really seen anywhere else. They were propelling you not only to like academically find yourself, find what you were interested in, find what you were good at, and move forward that way, but Villanova wants every student that comes out of it to turn into a more holistic person and a better version of themselves. It's about taking all of the things that you learn here and applying them to the world and helping make the world a better place. I've noticed that the community at Villanova, like the other two students have said, is just overwhelmingly positive, and everyone is so connected. The alumni network is phenomenal too, but I quite liked Villanova because it seemed like it was a place where you got to develop not only your academic side, but a bunch of other facets of yourself too. And you get to learn things about yourself and become a better, more community-oriented, more giving, worldly person here, which it was something that really stuck out to me, and it eventually made me choose the school. So.
Thanks to everyone for your participation, your attendance, your patience this evening. It's really been a pleasure for all of us. I know I speak for all of the participants to talk to you about the institution we love and cherish.
Thank you all for joining us. It was a real pleasure. Dr. Chapman, would you like to say a few final words? Anybody, or are we just waving?
No, I was just saying goodbye and thanks for coming. Hope to see you guys all soon.
Thank you all for joining us. Please join us again. Join for one of our student panels, join for a virtual visit, and hopefully we'll be able to welcome you back to campus soon, a place we all love dearly and hold in our hearts. So take care, be well, stay safe.